Hi there. Welcome to our tutorial on Project Procurement Management. The objectives of this tutorial are to increase the understanding of the project procurement knowledge area, to render students capable of being able to plan, conduct, control, and close a procurement, and to implement the skills and knowledge in future project teams or organizations. What is project procurement management? According to the definition outlined by PMBOK, project procurement management includes the processes necessary to purchase or acquire products, services, or results needed from outside the project team. It includes the management and control processes required to develop and administer agreements such as contracts, purchase orders, memoranda of agreements, or internal service level agreements. Likewise, project procurement management comprises of three processes, which are plan, conduct, and control procurements. The procurement processes are presented as discrete processes with defined interfaces. In practice, procurement processes can be complex and can interact with each other and with processes in other knowledge areas. We will be providing a breakdown of what each of these processes are moving forward. To begin with, the first process of project procurement management is the plan process. The plan process consists of documenting project procurement decisions, specifying the approach, and identifying potential sellers. The key benefit of the plan process is that it determines whether to acquire goods and services from outside of the project. If so, questions to consider are what, when, and how to acquire it. Also, goods and services may be procured from other parts of the performing organization or from external sources. This plan process is performed once or at predefined points in the project. Now, let's move on to the input section for the plan process. Inputs for the plan process are the following: project charter, business documents, project management plan, project documents, enterprise environmental factors, and organizational process assets. Business documents, particularly business case and benefits management plan. The business case focuses on the procurement strategy and needs to be aligned to ensure the business case is valid, whereas the benefits management plan describes when specific project benefits are expected to be available. This will drive procurement dates and contract language. Now, let's consider tools and techniques required for the plan process. Here, we have expert judgment, data gathering, source selection analysis, meetings, and data analysis. The two tools and techniques we will be analyzing are expert judgment and data gathering. Expert judgment, where expertise should be considered from individuals or groups with specialized knowledge or training in topics such as procurement and purchasing, contract types, contract document regulations, and compliance topics. Data gathering, especially market research, includes examination of industry and specific seller capabilities. The procurement team may refine specific procurement objectives to leverage maturing technologies while balancing risks associated with the breadth of sellers who can provide the desired materials or services. Now, moving on to our next area of focus, our outputs. Outputs include the procurement management plan, procurement strategy plan, project document updates, bid documents, source selection criteria, make or buy decisions, etc. The make or buy decisions is an important judgment made by management on whether to build a component internally or purchasing it internally from the market. While making the decision, both qualitative and quantitative factors must be considered. An example of a qualitative factor is the reliability of suppliers, whereas quantitative factors are actually the incremental costs resulting from making or purchasing the component. An example of a quantitative factor would be the purchase cost per unit. Now, let's move on to the next phase of procurement management, which is the conduct procurements. This is a process of obtaining seller responses, selecting a seller, and awarding a contract. The inputs for the conduct procurements consist of the following: project management plan, procurement documentation, seller proposals, enterprise environmental factor, and organizational process assets. One input we will be investigating are seller proposals. Seller proposals are prepared in response to a bid document package containing the basic information that will be used by an evaluation body to select one or more successful sellers, also known as bidders. The evaluation body reviews each submitted proposal according to the source selection criteria and selects the seller that can best satisfy the buying organization's requirements. Moving on to the next part, we have tools and techniques necessary to conduct procurements. Here we have expert judgment, data analysis, advertising, interpersonal skills such as negotiation, and bidder conference. The tools and techniques we will be looking at are advertising and interpersonal skills for conduct procurements. Advertising is defined as communication with users or potential users of a product, service, or result. Existing lists of potential sellers often can be expanded by placing advertisements in general circulation publications, such as selected newspapers or in specialty trade publications. Most government jurisdictions require public advertising or online posting of pending government contracts. Moreover, interpersonal and team skills can be used for this process include negotiation. Negotiation in a discussion aimed at reaching an agreement. Procurement negotiation clarifies the structure, rights and obligations of the parties, and other terms of the purchases so that mutual agreement can be reached prior to signing the contract. Final document language reflects all agreements reached. Negotiations conclude with a signed contract document or other formal agreement that can be executed by both the buyer and the seller. For the outputs of conduct procurements, we have selected sellers, agreements, change requests, project document updates, and organizational process assets updates. Particularly, agreements are a contract that is a mutually binding agreement that obligates the seller to provide the specified products, services, or results. It obligates the buyer to compensate the seller and represents a legal relationship that is subject to remedy in the courts. The major components in an agreement document will vary and may include features such as procurement statement of work or major deliverables, schedule, milestones, etc. The last phase of procurement management is the control phase. Control procurements is a process of managing procurement relationships, contract performance, and making changes when appropriate. It may be performed at any point of the project lifecycle or per need. Also, the key benefit of this process is that it ensures that both the seller's and buyer's performance meet the project's requirements according to the terms of the legal agreement. The inputs of the control phase include procurement documentation, project documents, work performance data, project management plan, organizational process assets, approved change requests, and enterprise environmental factor. Project documents include, but are not limited to, assumption log, which documents the assumptions that have been made during the procurement process, quality reports, which identify seller processes, procedures, or products that are out of compliance, and the requirements documentation may include technical requirements the seller is required to satisfy and legal implications that may include health, safety, security, performance, etc. The tools and techniques of the control procurements include the following: audits, data analysis, inspection, expert judgment, and claim administration. Audits are a structured review of the procurement process. Rights and obligations related to audits should be described in the procurement contract. Resulting audit observations should be brought to the attention of the buyer's project manager and the seller's project manager for adjustments to the project when necessary. Lastly, the outputs of the control phase consist of the following: post procurements, work performance information, procurement documentation updates, change requests, project management plan updates, project document updates, and organization process assets updates. For the closed procurements, we have the buyer, who usually through its authorized procurement administrator provides the seller with formal written notice that the contract has been completed. Requirements for formal procurement closure are usually defined in the terms and conditions of the contract and are included in the procurement management plan. Typically, all deliverables should have been provided on time and meet technical and quality requirements. There should be no outstanding claims or invoices, and all final payments should have been made. The project management team should have approved all deliverables prior to closure. This concludes the 3 phases of procurement management. In order to see if you fully understood the key concepts of procurement management, we will be providing questions to test your knowledge. The first question is, project procurement management includes processes necessary to A. Monitor project stakeholder relationships, B. Conducting risk management, C. Purchase or acquire products and services, or D. Identify the people or groups or organizations that could be impacted by the project. The correct answer is C. Purchase or acquire products and services. The second question is, all of the following are processes of procurement management except for A. Plan, B. Conduct, C. Control, and D. Identify risks. The correct answer is D. Identify risks, as the following processes of procurement management are plan, conduct, and control. Next question. Planned procurement management involves A. Documenting project procurement decisions, B. Specifying the approach, C. Identifying potential sellers, or D. All of the above. The correct answer is D. All of the above. Next question. Blank, where expertise should be considered from individuals or groups with specialized knowledge or training in topics such as procurement and purchasing, contract types, contract document regulations, and compliance topics. Is it A. Expert judgment, B. Data gathering, C. Seller proposals, or D. Work performance data? The correct answer is A. Expert judgment. Next question. The make or buy decisions is an important judgment made by the management on whether to build a component internally or purchasing it internally from the market. Is it A. True or B. False? The correct answer is A. True. Next question. What process or processes does the conduct procurement consist of? Is it A. Obtaining seller responses, B. Selecting a seller, C. Awarding a contract, or D. All of the above? The correct answer is D. All of the above, as the conduct procurement is a process of obtaining seller responses, selecting a seller, and awarding a contract. Moving on to the next question. The following are inputs of the conduct procurement except A. Seller proposals, B. Enterprise environmental factor, C. Project management plan, D. Purchase orders. The correct answer is D. Purchase orders, as the inputs of the conduct procurement include seller proposals, enterprise environmental factor, project management plan, procurement documentation, and organizational process assets. The last question is, what is the control phase in procurement management? Is it A. Process of managing procurement relationships, B. Contract performance, C. Making changes when appropriate, or D. All of the above? The correct answer is D. All of the above. Well, that brings us to the end of our tutorial on procurement management. Thank you for listening.